All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Reader. So this is an interesting group of viewer requests here. All right, we're going to start with NKLA, one we've obviously talked about for a while now, really. AHI is a really interesting chart. All right, I think it's very much a 50-50, but it is worth watching because I mean, if it lands on heads and that's what you called, it can make a really big move up. But again, if it lands on that wrong side of the coin, you just got to know what to do, right? And we'll kind of talk about what both sides of that coin look like. All right, and then VTRS. Okay, this came in over my website's email. Look, I talk about it. I have a website, thechartreaders.com. If you go to the bottom, there's a thing that says that there's like a weekly thing. I just don't have the time to do it, but it's a really easy way to get a hold of me if you ever want, you know what I mean? So chartreaders.com, one of the pages contacts us. I do look at that and reply to that. So VTRS came to me through that, and I actually really like that one a lot. Truth be told, there were another two, Tyson, TSN, and I forgot the other one actually, but three really good tickers off of one email, which was actually really cool. But look, before I just get into all of them, I want to just stress that I'm a little worried about the market condition today. Again, I'm not here calling crash or anything like that, but with a souring market, in my opinion, brings a little bit of worry to individual stocks, okay? And I'm seeing a little bit of sourness in the air. There are some other people that think I'm just actually overreacting and a little worried, and hey, I might be wrong, right? But that's at least what I'm going to talk about across the three of these. But before we go any further, what are we going to do today? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly to see how these things are setting up short term. We have our 5 moving averages. There are horizontal support and resistance lines that I do draw manually myself. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please subscribe to the channel, share this video on the internet, comment good or bad. Look, anything you can do really does help me out with these YouTube algorithms, especially if you can actually share the video. That actually really does the best. But just being here, giving me your time is super appreciated. All right, so look, let's get into it. And you know how wildly bullish I've been on NKLA. All right, really, especially since this 144 broke, but even before that, and hey, even only at the 144, we were pushing well over 100% just right here, right? So even down here, if you caught it that early, I mean, this was basically 100%. This was another 100%, right? So plenty of money was made right here. I hope you made it. I really do. I honestly think it's now time to start banking it, all right? I never banked $1 of NKLA, if I'm not mistaken. If I did, I don't think it was that big. And truth be told, I kept actually adding some money into it, all right? Like, I even said on one of my last videos, $5 should be coming pretty soon. And I remember seeing this candle. I obviously knew earnings was around the corner, right? But man, 5 was around the corner in my honest opinion, right? So yeah, I was wildly bullish about NKLA, and there was just continual reasons after reasons to actually keep throwing more money into the stock, as it did an amazing job of holding the 8, an amazing job of holding the 20, all right? And yeah, we're still over the 20, and in most cases, like, we bounced right here pretty well. We bounce here amazing. We bounce here really well. We would have probably bounced in most other places. I actually probably would have used this 26% down to buy more. Honestly, I don't call this an average down. I call this an average up. We're still going up, right? But yeah, this scares me a lot, all right? And before I talk about NKLA specifically, I gotta flash the NASDAQ composite, all right? NASDAQ has come below the 8 and below the 20. All right. And I always say it, day after the doji is very telling. We got one more doji followed by the drop and then the drop, right? Like, it really seems like we're coming down to 13.7. And I know it's not a horrible drop, you know what I mean? But yeah, it does seem like we're going to go down there because there's still a little bit of room between 37 and 30. And the indices get as bare bone as they get with the RSI, in my opinion. 30 is where this thing should turn around. getting to there should probably take this thing to 30, right? MACD's definitely come down. Hopefully, you know, we've seen it before. We've definitely seen it before. It's not a bad thing, but we've seen it before and it came down, right? So it should stabilize. I'm hoping it actually doesn't even go below the 0 line if you want to know the truth. But yeah, volume's bad, MACD's bad, RSI's bad, volume's bad, this is bad. With that in mind, with the NASDAQ, it's hard to believe NKLA is going to turn around. It's hard to actually believe that this 20 moving average line is going to hold right there. What's even worse, take a look at the box over there, okay? Do you see how it says the low of the day was 250? And that's also the number on the top, 250. That's also the number you see here. The low of the day was the close of the day. And what does that mean? That means literally the entire day until the last millisecond of the market being open, people were trying to unload and unload and unload and unload and unload and unload and unload. No one wanted to buy. Everyone was saying, let me keep selling, let me keep. No one there was not even a little minuscule wick at the end. Like, this is a scary candle. That is not a good RSI. That's kind of a worrisome MACD. That's a pretty big bad volume. And again, more than anything, it's a scary NASDAQ. And no single tech stock is greater than the NASDAQ, all right? I can't stress that enough, all right? That's not, honestly not even like one of my rules. That's a bare bone market rule right there, right? So what do I see happening? I see this thing coming to the 200. I see this slipping just below $2, all right? And that's actually another 20% loss, right? 25 cents is 10%. 25 plus 25 is 50. You lose that 50, you're coming down here, right? And I actually think you're going to go just a little bit lower. This thing actually says, if you look in the box over there, it's 192, right? So there is a potential to lose another 20% after eating this 26% loss on Friday, right? So yeah, it's sad, right? But the real good thing is there's been plenty of money, even if you just came in at the 144 break or whatever you came in on, right? Like this was beautiful. All right, there's no other word for this, and yeah, things can't keep going. And as confident as I was a couple videos ago that yeah, this thing was gonna run to Friday, I mean, so run to $5. I really see $2. I really do here. All right, so is what it is. It is what it is, and believe me, once NASDAQ picks up, I think I will be back in NKLA for sure. Let me just look at the weekly real quick. I think, like, look, I think the doji itself speaks to this week, all right? We just literally start here, run all the way up, and then end up ending here, all right? Yes, it's over the 50 moving average, but no, we did not break this thing, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's good volume. That's actually decent RSI. That's decent MACD, but no, this is, I think this is a fool's weekly chart to look at. I think it's all about what NASDAQ does on Monday. And it's funny, obviously this is an EV stock, but I really think what Palantir does is going to be really important. Amazon dropped some good earnings, and I think that was comforting for the NASDAQ. We definitely saw some bad earnings. PayPal and Square definitely did not do well, right? So yeah, I like I said, I think I taste more sour fruit in the market than I do like the sweetness of money being made, right? So I'm a little worried, and one more time, I wouldn't be surprised if this loses another 20% as quickly as Monday in one big candle, if not maybe between Monday and Wednesday, right? So NKLA, I would actually be a little worried here, okay? This is an interesting chart right here, all right? I've seen this stock. I might have even covered it. I have no line, so it looks like I haven't. But let's just take a look at this thing real quick. This is the entire chart, all right? There are interesting words in the name of this thing, all right? First off, it's a health, you know, but it's also intelligence and technology sector and stuff. Like, this to me is a mix of an AI health thing, right? You know what I mean? And yeah, it's an interesting stock. Few things. Always been, for the most part, under the moving averages. There was one wild pop and drop not that long ago. It actually really wasn't long ago, and we'll focus right here, right? But please keep in mind, we've been under the 8 and 20 for most of it. We've been under the 50 for a lot of it. Little pop here, back under them all. You know what I mean? So just keep history in mind. From there, look, this obviously makes a big pop, and doesn't dump hard. Don't get me wrong. Someone lost some fat money. This thing went from $10 all the way down to 3, right? Like, that's a lot of money to lose. That's well more than 50% to lose, right? That's actually 70% to lose. You lost $7 on 10. That said, this actually didn't dump. We actually never go below the entire candle. We never go below all the moving averages, obviously, and even all the way down as we start going horizontal, we don't lose all 5, okay? Okay, how do I say? Volume's weird here, all right? Because what did yesterday's sorry, this is Thursday. Thursday had 0 shares traded. Do you see that? Volume in the box over there says 0.0. That's really, really weird. What was this day? This day was 140K. This day was 150K. Like, you can see the ones where there's no candle at all, they're insignificant volumes. I don't know why this one says 0. That's actually really weird. I don't know if that's a glitch on the system or what, but I would say this, all right? If you can get over this line, and again, we're not, like, it tries to open here but doesn't, right? That's an interesting line, 517. This one's going to be a little bit of a safer line. This one right here, 577. Okay, if you can get over 577, just take a look at what 577. Oh, damn. Do I want to raise it just a little bit to get to the peak of that? No, because look, that's the bottom of that. This is a good line. Get over 577, and dude, there's a lot of nothing. There might be a real quick climb to 10, in all honesty. Maybe that's worth drawing. That is worth drawing because it was also the top of that right there. You see that? I was looking right there, and it basically is the top of that. Break 577, you're going to want to come to 870, basically. Break that, and yeah, we're talking about 12-something, if not maybe even as high as 20-something, right? But the things that I like, that's a good RSI. That's actually a good MACD trying to get into the 0, right? Like, I really don't want to pump and dump here. I don't want one, like, give me a couple slow and steady good green candles. This is a really, really healthy 54. We can go green, maybe for 4 or 5 days before this 54 starts to creep into the 80s and stuff, right? Like, obviously it's gotten really high, 95, 96, but those are pump and dump numbers, right? Like, slow and steady would be good here. My issue just kind of is it doesn't know how to do it. It just does big pump and drop. That's the closest thing to slow and steady. 3 pretty big candles, and one of those big candles you can see was a 32% day. Like, I actually don't want any 30-day, like, give me 7%, 7%, 10%, 15%. You know what I mean? Like, slow and steady it up. Let me believe that we're going to break these lines, not just pump over them and then falling back under them, right? But this is an interesting chart. This is what I would call a 50-50 gamble. If bad things happen, it's going to happen because it loses this. Right? What's that 8 at? The 3. If this falls under 370, I would be scared, because if you lose these 3 lines, you're probably falling all the way down here to 260. All right, but this is an interesting one for sure. And clearly, when the volume comes, right? But it's weird. Even this day barely did anything, right? So it's there. Even this day barely did. Even this day, I guess this one was a gap up, but again, just some interesting things. This very, very much is a gamble chart right here, but I can see why it would be interesting. All right, this is an interesting weekly, right? We're actually over. Is there a 100 moving average? Not just yet, right? Let me click. Not just yet. There's only 3 moving averages, and we're over all 3 of them right now, right? So, yeah. This one's interesting, but one more time, it is a 50-50 gamble to say the least. VTRS. All right, I like this chart. This one, like I said, this one came over email. I hope you see the things I see right away. This is over all 5 moving averages. This actually breaks it here, comes back down, and is kind of doing it again. I like that. It's actually giving me a little reassurance in that 200 moving average, right? We don't bounce on it beautifully, but with the 20 and the 8 and like blah, there's a lot to like. In some ways, you can argue don't get in until it actually really gets over that and goes. Obviously, if we're a few cents away, does this do anything silly? This actually comes down. Again, that doesn't mean much to me. I was curious, but damn, look at that. That's actually almost perfectly 50% candle. Could raise it just a little bit, but I mean, just again, there's definitely something worth drawing right here. That's a pretty hard horizontal. But then really after that, it could be a real hard climb almost to that. I don't think this is going to be, maybe it is this one. Okay. Because that is the peak of that, and just like a little bit of a horizontal there. But you know, it's interesting as I look at this, I thought that there was actually more profit to be made. Again, you're adding $2, that is about a 20% move, and the real hope would obviously be a little bit more beyond, but there's not a lot of price history here. All right, and you know, the things we like are, this is overall the moving averages, this is a positive MACD, this is a really healthy 65 RSI, this actually is really good volume almost through July, right? Like from here onward, I am seeing more green than red, and what I want to do, interesting. All right, for the most part, the 50 moving average, the 50-day average volume has been pretty stable. You can see it as that the line has pretty much been holding right there, and I'm glad it's in the millions, right? Like, this is an interesting ticker. This really is, and there's obviously a lot to love above this 1150 number, you know what I mean? But this is holding a good uptrend. This is holding the 8 and the 20 really well. 50 moving average did do a golden cross right there, and it actually looks like the 20 is getting ready to golden cross the 200, right? So I like this. Just keep going up, and really most signs here are actually saying I want to keep going up. This right here, again, this is basically saying we want to come here, not as quite as high as my 1160, but 1125, let's call it. Yeah, 1124. You can see it in the box over there, 100 MA, right? But get over the 100 and it can fly. And again, these are actually really good indicators on the weekly, right? That's a MACD ready to go into the positive. That's pretty much diverging. That's an RSI that's diverging. That's still at a healthy 67. Not that long ago, it was this high at 78, right? So there's things to like here. There actually are, you know what I mean? So hopefully we can get above, like I said, this 1160. That's where I think the real money will come, right? Like, it's a pretty hard gap fill, and we've kind of filled most of it once, right? We've already gotten this high. Did we crack that? Not quite. Yeah, this is an interesting one. Let's see how this one plays out. I wish there was just a little bit more juice right here. But like I said, I think the real goal is breaking this and taking off. And obviously, if you do that, you've broken it here and you're taking off, right? But this is an interesting chart. What is this? It's a healthcare sector drug manufacturer. Interesting. All right. I don't know if they've gotten any good news recently or not. I don't see any crazy big candles. I don't think they've gotten any crazy FDA, this or that, right? But VTRS, this is an interesting one. So, hey, let me know your thoughts and opinions. Otherwise, again, thank you.